let me take a moment to explain the drama triangle we can all find ourselves stuck in, and the alternative, which I like to call the curiosity triangle. So I'm going to introduce them both over just a few minutes. First of all, here's the drama triangle. So what this really means is that when we were children, we might have witnessed a lot of this, and almost there's a lot of energy in this. So there's a lot of feeling kind of noticed, important, and therefore we kind of get that wired in subconsciously to sort of, this is how life is, this is what love kind of feels like. Unless there's some kind of energy or conflict, it almost feels strange to be peaceful and calm, because we may just not have really been a witness to that in our childhood, for example. So what that can then show up in our adult life is in our own relationships. We sort of get sucked in to this game because it's kind of familiar, and then we just think, oh, am I an angry person, or am I, never gonna feel kind of calm, content, happy how we actually want to feel, because it's just so unfamiliar. So I hope that's making sense, first of all. So what we're really thinking about here is it's our protecting mind, our kind of stallion-like mind, as I call it, that subconscious mind that is only trying to do what it believes is in our best interest by playing one of these three roles. So let's start with the persecutor role. This is where we can find ourselves becoming quite a critical kind of parent. This is from transactional analysis. So the language they use is to say you're like a critical parent. So you should, do this. Why are you doing that? What's wrong with you? This kind of language that we can either give to our children, to our parents, well, can sometimes, or as a parent. Now, there's a secondary gain to this. So always remember, your subconscious mind is only ever coming up with thoughts and emotions that it believes are helpful. So it's trying to help you by putting you in a position of like, I feel in charge, I feel important, I feel powerful, I feel right. Doesn't help, because we end up creating quite, obviously not a very nice environment, but it's actually trying to sort of serve you in some way and protect you, right? So that can be one role. And what can happen is if you're not in that role, maybe your sort of partner is, you might be in one of the other two. So the second one I'm going to look at is called the rescuer. So this secondary gain that the rescuer will be trying to achieve is, I feel like a good person, I feel needed. So you could stay in this role quite a lot of the time, and it could be, oh, it's not about me, I need to help, oh, I feel sorry for you, right, what can I do? And almost kind of squash your own needs, because maybe that was the more familiar role for you in childhood of kind of like, I'm not the angry, I'm not allowed to be angry, I'm not allowed to be, the persecutor, I'm not the parent, therefore I'm the sort of the rescuer, I have to adapt, I have to please, I have to care, right? And you can get very stuck in that rescuing role. And if you remember, think about it again, that secondary gain is, I feel like a good person when I don't make it about me. When I'm caring about everybody else, trying to please everybody else. But what that can end up is we're just absolutely drained, because we don't even know what self-care looks like or feels like, because we're making it about everybody else. So that will be the rescuer role. And then the victim role is more about self-pity, really, a kind of, it's not my fault, you don't understand how hard it is for me. It will be making it about ourselves. If anybody else says, actually I'm having a difficult time, well, you have no idea how bad my day's been. And the secondary gain in this is to feel noticed, to again get that drama, get the attention. So I've got here, I feel noticed, I feel cared about. I might feel praise, because I might say, it's so hard, and then someone says, oh, you're doing really well. So these are the three roles we can play, and we can switch as well. So you could be playing the victim, and then suddenly if you're feeling like, well, I'm not getting the attention, I was hoping for, you'll end up saying, what's wrong with you? I've had a hard day and you're not even paying attention. And then you could then almost switch into the rescuer. They could then maybe say, well, I'm not paying attention because you had a hard day, and then you say, oh, I'm so sorry, and you're sort of stuck in these three roles and switching between them without being aware that you're stuck in this drama. So let's look at the opposite. The opposite is called the curiosity triangle. It matches the three aspects, but in a very different way. So this is now being aware of these subconscious drivers and taking control. And if you've been in my world a little time, you'll know that this is kind of the stallion mind. 95% of our thoughts, unconscious, only wired in safety. It believes it's keeping us safe. It's actually keeping us stuck, right? So what we're doing, this is about becoming like the horse rider. If you imagine not letting the stallion control everything and putting us on autopilot, but actually becoming like the rider of our own mind, the leader of our own mind. So we can be, instead of persecutory, we can be assertive. We can express how we feel and ask how you feel. So this is the big word with assertive, is being curious. You're kind of scanning your own body and going, this is interesting. I wonder what this emotion is really trying to tell me. For example, I'm feeling quite angry with my partner here. Like, anger is trying to express an unmet need. So if you actually kind of said to your child, your partner, whoever, like, that's making me feel quite uncomfortable, because I think what I'm afraid of here is, that you're not kind of respecting what my day's been like, or something like that. So it's being curious first about yourself, then expressing kind of what your fear is, what you feel is actually going on, or being curious about the emotion of someone else. Always remember, their stallion, their emotions are coming from somewhere. Their emotions are trying to help them. So you can be curious about, what do you really feel? What are you really afraid of? What's happened today that's caused this frustration, this stress, this anger, this emotion, whatever it is. So being curious is an assertive thing to be. Ask those questions and be assertive enough to express your own thoughts, your own needs, your own truth. The caring role replaces the rescuer role. So my favourite phrase here is to say, how can I be most helpful? You're not trying to sort of scoop up and rescue someone. You're respecting them by feeling kind of side by side, rather than, as I always say, kind of shielding or pushing. That's that kind of, I have to rescue you. Instead of that, it's literally like you're side by side. So what I want you to imagine with this is, if you're on a walk, or if you're in the car and somebody's in the passenger seat, or vice versa, that's literally that idea. We're both looking in the same direction. We're having a side-by-side conversation, and I am caring. I'm right here if you need me, but I'm not going to just take over and decide what you need and rescue you. I'm going to ask, how can I be most helpful? What do you feel I can do here? Because it's respecting, no matter how young the child is, whoever we're talking about here, it's respecting their autonomy to come up with their own solutions and to say, thank you, I'll let you know. So even if they don't necessarily know, you're starting that conversation to say, when you know how I can be most helpful, I'm right here. But I believe that you can also come up with your own strategies. Yeah, it's giving that autonomy rather than squashing their advocacy. And so finally, we've got vulnerable. And this is about being responsible really for your own self-awareness, your own fear. As I kind of said earlier, the most powerful thing we can do is to have the courage to express our vulnerabilities, our fears. As soon as we do that, as they say, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. So as soon as you express your fears, they've disappeared, because you've had the courage to express them. Now, of course, this is important to say that you can only be vulnerable with people who are not in the drama triangle. If you're vulnerable with people that are just going to become persecutors or play the victim or try to kind of rescue you and squash you and decide what's best for you, that's when you need to kind of see the difference. If someone's stuck in this, you can't drag them out of it. They have to maybe come to talk to someone like me and recognise what's going on. So it is also about thinking, who's in your life? I like to think of relationships like traffic lights. Who's green in your life that you can actually be here with, this curiosity triangle? You can be vulnerable. You can be kind of assertive and express your needs and hear theirs. You can be caring of each other. If it matters to you, it matters to me. How can I be most helpful? This is where we're trying to get to. But you do have to try and, both be there and both commit into being in this caring curiosity triangle. Any questions on that? You know where I am. Pop me a message on social media. I hope that's been useful today, and I wish you all the best.